Dade Phelan has another challenger. It's September 10th, 2024, and these are your headlines. Current House Speaker Dade Phelan has yet another lawmaker challenging him for the gavel, as State Representative James Frank has officially filed for the position. In a letter to current and incoming members, Representative Frank wrote that at the end of the last session and the primary election in March, it became clear that both lawmakers and voters want to move in a different direction. To that end, Frank's announcement focused on 3 points: communication, member empowerment, and floor management. Frank says he wants to provide better communication, not just between the Speaker and the members, but between the House and the Senate as well. He also said he wants to move power away from the Speaker and back to the elected members. He also told members that he would work to ensure that the limited time they have during session is put to better use, saying that the majority party's priority bills should be passed early in session to prevent unnecessary special sessions. Frank said that this will allow us to ensure that Republican members can fulfill their promises to their constituents. And like Phelan's other challengers, Frank said only Republican members should serve as chairs. He said this will allow significantly more Republican members to participate in leadership roles, while he assured that Democrats would not be excluded from the process. He joined State Representatives Tom Oliverson, Shelby Slauson, and David Cook in challenging Phelan for the position. Incoming Republican members will select a candidate for Speaker in caucus later this year, a Republican candidate, and the official vote for Speaker will take place on the first day of the legislative session in January. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick has announced a second wave of interim charges for the Senate, issued for committees to investigate and research ahead of the legislative session next year. Among the topics of interest are reforms to the runoff election process, impeachment procedures, DEI programs in higher education, and the regulation of online lottery sales. Many of the most notable reform proposals have been given to the State Affairs Committee. Specifically, that committee's been tasked with studying how to improve the efficiency and reduce the cost of runoff elections. This includes considering whether the 50% vote threshold to avoid runoffs should be lowered, particularly when multiple candidates are in the race. The committee is also set to evaluate the constitutional and statutory impeachment procedures in our state and to make recommendations to ensure a fair and transparent process. The lottery is also under the microscope. You might remember during a recent hearing of the Sunset Commission, representatives from the Texas Lottery Commission faced criticism for their seemingly lax approach toward the growing number of lottery courier companies operating in Texas. These unlicensed courier companies function as intermediaries, selling lottery tickets online to individuals while purchasing the tickets from licensed retailers. Senators are being tasked with determining whether courier services are operating legally in Texas and whether a change in law is needed to respond to technological advancements to protect children in our state and to maintain original legislative intent. The Higher Education Subcommittee has been charged with examining programs and certificates at higher education institutions that maintain discriminatory diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. This comes after recent reporting from Texas Scorecard revealed that Texas A&M University is offering a certificate in social justice leadership, focused on DEI principles and woke ideology. The subcommittee is tasked with making recommendations for reforms to ensure that higher education institutions are preparing students for the job market based on merit and skill rather than DEI-driven policies.
Hey folks, Chris Salcedo here. I've got something special for you, the Salcedo Storm podcast. As your friendly, liberty-loving Latino, I bring you a mix of engaging discussions to help us fight for our state and our conservative values. It's the perfect way to stay informed and engaged in what's happening around you. So, what are you waiting for? Don't miss out on the storm of information and entertainment coming your way. The Salcedo Storm podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts.
Texas Land Commissioner Don Buckingham has sent yet another letter to the Biden-Harris administration in opposition to a federal proposal to lease nearly 150,000 offshore acres to an energy company with no experience in wind projects. The Bureau of Ocean Energy Management stands at the helm of the proposal. According to Buckingham's letter addressed to BOEM sale coordinator Renee Bigham, the proposal aims to lease 142,528 acres off the coast of Texas in the Gulf of Mexico to a company called Hecate Energy Gulf Wind LLC. Yet that company allegedly has zero experience with the construction of offshore wind farms. Two proposed upland wind projects currently in development constitute the organization's entire experience in the field. Don Buckingham's letter highlighted several other concerns with the federal government's proposal, chiefly that offshore wind projects have a history of being financially unworkable. Further, it poses significant risks to many sea species, like the already endangered Rice's whale. Species of migrating birds would also be at risk. Buckingham asserted that moving forward with the project would impact and displace local fishing communities. Hurricane paths in the Gulf would also pose another risk as they have the potential to damage wind turbines. For more of today's stories, go to TexasScorecard.com.